which angers Jong-won. In the end, he drives off without paying for the gas. At this time in the airport, there's a dispute between the athlete Yura and her manager Mi run over a passport that wasn't renewed in time when an elderly woman approaches them, mistaking Yura for her niece. The friends realize the old woman has dementia and appears and takes the grandmother onto a bus. The girls decide to return home. Meanwhile, a dense fog descends over the area around the airport. Yura and Miran, getting into their car, notice that visibility has dropped drastically. The elderly woman and her husband are also driving on the bridge among the stream of cars, just like hundreds of other people. The drivers try to go more slowly. However, as always, there's a reckless driver who drifts, angering everyone around. And while the father swerves to avoid this reckless driver, Young Min notices a van with barred windows, behind which large fighting dogs can be seen. In the vehicle accompanying this van is a professor who is swallowing some pills and listening to assurances that the laboratory is already close by and they will arrive soon. At this moment, the driver of a large truck, unable to stop his vehicle, crashes into the reckless driver. A chain reaction begins. One car hits another, creating a giant traffic jam. As a result, one side of the bridge becomes blocked by a huge number of wrecked cars. The truck completes the destruction, blocking the lane and causing terrible damage. Meanwhile, the gas station owner, upon learning about the brazen driver, demands that the attendant return the money for the gas. The attendant jumps into a tow truck and goes out in search of this debtor, taking his small dog with him. Meanwhile, the escort vehicle breaks down, losing sight of the van carrying the dogs, which has gotten far ahead. Jung-won also gets into an accident not far from the military van. He calls his boss, since this is a large-scale incident, and the boss must take action. Meanwhile, the military try to call the driver of the second van, which went on ahead, but no one answers, so they decide to catch up to it on foot. They run across the bridge and soon find the van. However, its doors are open and there's nobody inside. Clearly alarmed by this, the commander orders that all cell phone signals on the bridge be jammed. Many people stuck in the accident are left without any connection. Meanwhile, Jong-won gives first aid to the injured professor when he notices that his daughter has disappeared somewhere and he rushes to find her. As for Kyung-min, she just saw a dog nearby, banging its head against the bridge's railing. She wants to feed it and comes close enough to read the name on its collar, E9. Then her father finds her, warning that the dog might be dangerous. In the meantime, many of the stranded passengers disable the jammer, but they restrain him. Meanwhile, the attendant arrives at the accident site, where one of those stranded asks him to tow his car. The guy instantly senses his benefit and starts working for a reward. Jung-won threatens the professor, demanding to be released. However, the scientist isn't afraid because, according to him, if it all goes wrong, they will all end up as corpses. He activates the system and, naming the project Silence, orders the operation to begin. Once the dogs detect the code, they start gathering toward the van, but one of the dogs suddenly stops, which puzzles the professor. He realizes that E9 is uncontrollable, and although the rest of the pack has already run back to the van, this dog doesn't hurry. The professor orders them to drive away the others. At that moment, a military helicopter hovers over the bridge and lowers a cage onto the van. Several soldiers rush to secure it. Jung-won demands an explanation from the professor, but the scientist advises him to ask his boss about Project Silence. Jung-won again demands the jammer be turned off as he must contact his boss. Meanwhile, the professor hears barking and sees the attendant's small dog, Judy. The guy tries to catch her, but the soldiers grab him, preventing him from reaching the spot. The professor orders the small dog to be removed, while simultaneously trying to call E9 and make her come over to the van. However, the cage is already lifting off the ground when one of the soldiers finds the missing control chip for dog E9.
तो बोले वो कहानी समझ नहीं आ रही एक बार में क्या?
मम्मी